Hello, welcome back to Sony Mind. You might have heard the expression focus on the positive many times. That expression is definitely very logical because positive makes your life better. However, focus on the positive is a very broad statement. Therefore, one needs to think about how to specifically apply it to everyday life. My advice today is to, when breaking a bad habit, focus on developing good habit instead of viewing the bad habit as a serious misconduct to be avoided. This is because that focus on developing good habits creates a good atmosphere that makes it much easier to develop good habit. And the positivity will also spill over to your everyday life, increasing happiness. Additionally, creating a good habit fills the void that is left by the leaving of the bad habit. For example, in Israel, when young children go to school for the first time, they will lick honey off the alphabet, giving them an expression that learning is inherently positive. As a result of this and similar learning measures associating learning with positivity, Israel has one of the world's highest rates of scientific achievements. When I was growing up, my parents used the way of creating good habits in order to break some of my bad habits. For example, during early high school, I had a very bad math tutor. Let's call him Mr. A. Since Mr. A was so bad, after I took his courses, I frequently said, Mr. A is bad. Mr. A is bad. And my parents say that always saying Mr. A is bad is negative and gets you nowhere. So how about this? Whenever you think of saying Mr. A is bad, replacing it with something positive. And if you still accidentally say it, say the positive thing twice. Positive things, for example, vacation to Europe is good. Comfortable housing is good. High-end bike is good, etc. So after that, I try to avoid saying it. But whenever my mouth slips and say Mr. A is bad, my parents, instead of saying, hey, you have did something wrong, instead say something positive twice to make up. So I will say, vacation to Europe is good. Vacation to Europe is good. Therefore, from that, I developed an excellent habit of focusing on something that is positive and productive and avoiding negativity. This principle can be applied to even more complex problems that will produce a chain of good effects. For example, when I was very, very young, I had a habit of always demanding to buy toys. A common approach is to, when a child demands a toy and the parents find the demand to be unreasonable, the parents will refuse to buy the child the toy, and no matter how bad the child cries or whines, still not buy the toy. This approach is definitely highly logical because it develops good qualities like restraint and obedience to legitimate authority, qualities essential for success in the real world, regardless of how technically reasonable are they. But my parents developed an even better approach. They said, I have calculated my budget and room in our house. We have limited money and limited room in our house. Therefore, from now on, how about this? For every week, buy only one small toy, and every month, buy only one big toy. I initially hesitated, thinking that I will have bad toys or not enough toys. But my parents said that our budget is indeed really tight, and we live in a really small apartment. If we keep buying on toys, then we'll go bankrupt. So I reluctantly agreed. Therefore, a few days later, when I went to the shop with my parents, I saw some toys, and I began thinking, which toy is the best for me? This toy looks nice, but is it really what I want? So I began planning my shopping and simultaneously practicing restraint and delayed gratification. After thorough deliberation, I decided to buy one toy. And after only 2 or 3 days later, I came to a shop again and said, "Oh, I want that toy. I have planned thoroughly to ensure that it is indeed what I really want." But my parents say, "Only 3 days has passed. You have to wait until 1 week." Therefore, through this long process, I develop even broader skills of good qualities. For example, planning what I want, comparative shopping, weighing pros and cons of different options, as well as qualities such as delaying gratification and obedience to lawful authority. Therefore, you can see that for a complex problem, this simple approach of focusing on a positive habit still works, and in some cases can cascade into a chain of good habits. Therefore, one can see, when breaking a bad habit, developing a good habit is much more beneficial than treating the bad habit as a serious offense to be avoided at all costs. This is because 1. The good habit approach creates a positive energy, which makes sticking to the good habit much easier and will spill over to your life, making it much more positive. Second, developing the good habit will fill the void left by the departure of that bad habit, making it even easier to keep and even more likely to have even bigger positive effect. With this positive approach of focusing on good habits instead of misconduct, I hope that the number of good habits you have will continuously rise and you will live better and better. Thank you.